Welcome back to the Sooner Saloon. I'm Taylor Reed. As always, I'm here with Nick Reed. Today we're going to talk about some Oklahoma versus Nebraska. Before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you are big OU fans like us. Ready to get started?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Sounds good. So this weekend we got number 6, 1-0 Oklahoma at 1-2 Nebraska. Oklahoma comes out as an 11-point favorite. It's going to be at 11 a.m. on Fox. Oklahoma leads the series 45-38 in 3 ties. That rivalry dating back to 1912. Nick, tell us some things we may not know about Nebraska, or tell us some good things we need to know.
Okay, so Nebraska last season goes 3-9. They might be the best 3-9 team I've ever seen from a season ago. All 9 losses by 1 possession or less. And the reason why I say that they are the best 3-9 team I've ever seen, is because they lose to 6 top 20 opponents, and 3 of those 6 were top 10 opponents. For example, they lose to number 3 Oklahoma, 23-16. They lose to number 20 Michigan State, 23-20 in overtime. They lose to Big Ten champ Michigan, 32-29. They lose to number 5 Ohio State, 26-17. They also lose to Wisconsin and Iowa by 7 points each, and those were both top 15 teams.
Okay.
They beat themselves in most of these matchups, and
They did.
Just to top this off, dating back to last season and including this season, they have 11 straight losses where it's been decided by 1 possession or less. So do not sleep on this Nebraska team. Yes, they lose Scott Frost, but it's still Nebraska. It's a good, talented Power 5 team, and they're still going to come at you with high intensity versus a top 10 opponent in Oklahoma.
Okay. So Oklahoma's offense versus Nebraska's defense. Let's hear it.
Okay, so I think Nebraska's defense from a season ago is much better than what they are this season. Nebraska gives up an average of almost 500 yards a game. That's just not going to get the job done. They're giving up 300 yards passing and 200 yards rushing per game as well. And these are opponents like Northwestern, North Dakota, and Georgia Southern. Nebraska a week ago lets Georgia Southern convert 9 out of 13 times on 3rd down, and 2 out of 2 times on 4th down as well. They gave up 400 yards passing and 230 yards rushing against this Georgia Southern team. Oklahoma has had a little bit of struggles on this offensive line. It's been a talk throughout the offseason, but we get Wanye Morris back. He's back in the starting lineup, and I want to see them take a step forward in pass protection and maybe open up some more gaping holes in the run game. Hopefully, we can see more time in the pocket for Dillon Gabriel, throw those deep balls and connect with wide receivers like Marvin Mims. This Nebraska D-line, it has a talented D end, O'Shawn Mathis. He's shown that he's proven potential, but the Nebraska defense as a whole has yet to really put it together, and they haven't been assignment sound whatsoever. I think the running backs have a big day. I think we can get 150 yards up. That's where I think we're going to be at. That's going to set up passing and play action. Nebraska also had a corner, Marquez Buford, I believe is his name, but he had 2 interceptions last week, and Nebraska never turned the ball over, but they still managed to lose the game 45-42. But look for Mims to have another big day, capitalize on a breakout performance. A week ago against Kent State, he had 7 receptions, 163 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Get him involved early, but I'm still waiting on a wide receiver 2 to step up and establish a role. I don't know if it's going to be Weiss. I don't know if it's going to be Stoops or Farouk, maybe those young guys like Jaden Gibson. I don't know. But what I will tell you is you can't go and punt the ball 4 times in the first half against Nebraska, or else they're going to beat you.
No. And from here on out, the schedule only gets stronger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kansas State in another
Telling you.
week after this.
Yeah. Okay, so Oklahoma's defense versus Nebraska's offense. Looking at that, what do you have?
Well, Nebraska has some good amount of talent on that offense. They get transfer quarterback Casey Thompson.
You guys remember him? Does anybody remember him?
Yep. He's transferred from Texas a year ago, and I promise you he wants to be Oklahoma more than anybody. As close as Red River was a year ago, Thompson has shown that he has a good arm, and he can beat you with his legs as well. But I have noticed that kind of in the second half of games, he gets a little tired, he gets a little weary, and he's going to start to slowly make some ill-advised decisions. You know, Billy Bowman has stepped up in a huge role at that safety position, and you know he forces a fumble last week, and he's just stepped up big time in a huge role. But I'm going to tell you this: their running back Anthony Grant, he's really good. He's a big-time threat on the ground, and he's already, believe it or not, he's already has 428 yards in just 3 games as well as 5 touchdowns. He's almost halfway to 1,000 in 3 games. That's ridiculous. He averages 6.5 yards a carry and averages about 150 a game. So as long as our front 7 can bring the same effort that they had the first 2 weeks, you know, Danny Stutzman has been an absolute monster, was a monster against Kent State. 12 tackles and 4 tackles for loss, and he also had a sack. But I think if you could stop this run game and you could force Casey Thompson to have a big day throwing the ball, that's what you're going to have to do. You're gonna have to force Casey Thompson to make big plays with his arm. But I think Oklahoma can manage as far as that front 7. They also have their best receiver is an LSU transfer. It's Trey Palmer. He's got about 230 yards receiving so far this season. And when I was watching the Northwestern game, he was making some pretty big plays. So secondaries just kind of step up. And it's going to be interesting to see how they scheme on defense. A little bit more from Brent Venables and maybe some substitution changes like Justin Harrington as he got a pick last week as well.
Okay. Final thoughts on this game?
I think this first half is going to be close. I think it's going to be neck and neck. But as I said, Casey Thompson starts to degress in that second half, and Nebraska is not as disciplined as a team as Oklahoma. That defense is pretty shaky, but Oklahoma cannot be punting the ball 4 times in that first half.
Nope.
So ultimately, I think turnovers and penalties is going to catch up to Nebraska. Maybe a second half interception by Casey Thompson. I think Oklahoma wins this game about 38-27.
Okay. I got 38-16.
Okay.
I got 38-16. I think you're going to be right. I think Oklahoma's going to come out. I think it's going to be close in the first half. I think as the game goes on, it might be one of those games where it's halftime. Oklahoma's up by maybe 3 points or so. Nebraska gets the ball. Everybody's shitting themselves. And Oklahoma comes out in the second half. I think they take care of them in the second half, to be honest with you. So that's what I got.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a huge, packed house in Lincoln, Nebraska. You got to show up. You got to be on top of your game in that first half. Start out strong. Step on the gas pedal.
It is. Okay. Well, hopefully it's not anything like that 2009 game when we went into Nebraska and we lost 10-3 with Landry Jones, the year that Bradford went down, and we had like 5 interceptions and got inside the red zone a handful of times and couldn't score for shit.
Wasn't it 10-3? In that
game? It was 10-3. That was bad. That was the most stressful, irritating, nerve-wracking Oklahoma game I think I've almost ever watched.
Right.
It was ridiculous. So, anyway, okay, that's what we got.
Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. So, with that being said, we're going to wrap this up, and Boomer Sooner.